What is the concept? Who is the cast? Where do we start? How do we leave? Where do we go? How do we lose? And where do we end up? With just these 7 questions in mind, I, Aloney, and my friend Scott will create a story as fast as we can. Enjoy the mess. Try not to cancel us. We're good boys. This week, I'm with Scott again.
Hello.
And we're writing a movie. Okay, so Scott, do you have any ideas? Anything you're interested in writing? Because if not, I also don't, but I have a different idea that might help.
What's your idea?
Well, I thought we could just pick specific genre to start with, and then each of us say a movie in that genre that we like, and then we squish them together and try to make a combo of those 2 movies. Because we did it one time with the first episode. We did an original idea, and I love Deborah's Star. I think it's really fucking good. But I know we don't want to take our favorite stories and just throw them out on the internet.
Right.
Like our favorite creations, because it's a little touchy and it takes a long time for us to get there. So what if we retroactively created a story just from a prompt, basically? Unless you want to adapt something again, because I'm totally down to do that, but all we do is adapt.
Right.
On both of the podcasts where I write stuff is like, I just adapt something and it becomes a TV show every single time. It's like, all right, let's pick a video game. Now it's a TV show. The end.
There we go.
We need new shit for once. It's the 5th episode. Come on, we got to do this.
All right.
Can you believe that? We're on the 5th episode.
Crazy.
Do you want to pick a genre?
Sure. Let's go horror.
Oh my god, I was going to say horror. Perfect. Okay, so horror movie. What's a horror movie that comes to mind for you?
Alien, I think that's the first thing that comes to mind for me.
Ooh, that's good. My first thought was Saw.
Oh boy.
But I don't know how you combine Alien and Saw. I gotta say, when I came up with this combo idea, I was like, we should each say our favorite movies. And I was like, so we're gonna end up with Dino Pirates. Maybe we'll do that at a different time. But
Dino.
Yeah, because I would pick Pirates of the Caribbean and you would pick Jurassic Park. And then suddenly we'd have Dino Pirates. Which I was like, that sounds so dumb.
The pirates are going to steal the DNA.
You could do Jurassic Park after they start including the dinosaurs in the military, and then it's like Somali pirate type pirates.
Oh, wow.
Like have dinosaurs, and it's like Dino Pirates. But no, okay. Alien and Saw. Do you think we could do that, or should I pick a different horror movie? Because I could pick like Friday the 13th, classic, or like a Freddy Krueger type thing, like Dream Alien.
Dream Alien sounds kind of neat.
Yeah, like
Find a benign-looking alien. They're unconscious. Things start happening to the crew that rescued them. Perhaps it's some sort of a mental projection by the alien that's like a horrifying monster.
It's like a phantasmal killer thing. Like it's like an
astral projection, sort of. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like illusion horror. So it's like your worst fears manipulated into a creature.
Kind of, yeah.
So like you have like a little basic E.T. baby alien, and then it's causing all this like real scary shit.
Kind of, yeah.
Could work.
Yeah.
All right, well then let's go through the 7 questions and see if they work for horror. And it's obviously going to be a movie this time. We got to do it. We can't do a horror TV show. We got to do this.
I mean, if we're doing it like an alien style movie, then
yeah, if it's based on Alien and
yeah,
and the concept of like a bad guy in your dreams,
doing an alien TV show would be hard. Being like, okay, we have 13 characters, and one of them's gonna die each episode. So that's like 12.
You could make it a little bit more detective show. I actually think I have another really dumb idea, which is you do aliens, like the planet where everything's going wrong, and you have a detective on that planet.
Right.
Because it's a colony, and then they're like, you used to be a detective before you were a colonist. We have a missing person, and then he's like looking for the missing person, and then he finds the dead guy, and it's all fucked up by an alien.
Yeah, that has potential.
That would be a good TV show. Alien Detective. Is that better than Dreamworm?
I think that could work well for like part of me has to stop myself because a dream alien, that's making me think of the very old movie Forbidden Planet, where they discover a device that allows them to like astrally project, and yeah, it creates a monster that can hurt people.
Well, we have two very good ideas. I don't know why I did the alien detective thing, because now I'm like, God damn it, we're gonna do another fucking TV show adaptation.
I mean, it doesn't have to be a TV show.
Yeah, it could be a movie too. Alright, in order to not be predictable and do the same shit we've always done, let's do a combo of those two. That's how you get a crazy ideas. You go, all right, let's take two movies, let's combine them, and then you know what? Let's do that twice, and then okay, let's take both those ideas and mix them.
Right.
And now we have something truly original.
Aha.
Dream alien detective.
There we go.
That gives us a lot to work with, actually.
Yeah.
So okay, in the questions. So the concept is, so we're on a colony in space. A former detective, who's now a colonist, becomes a detective again to investigate murders, and those murders are from an alien that goes in your dreams, like Freddy Krueger style.
Right. Okay.
Is that better than the projections that walk around? Or maybe we'll do both. Maybe it'll start out like Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
Because like Nightmare on Elm Street, it's like one of my favorite movies of all time. It's like the series. Mostly because of the idea of Freddy Krueger, because the whole thing behind him is that he only exists if you can remember him, if that there's a story about him.
Ah.
So like in Freddy vs. Jason, the whole premise of that is that no one remembers Freddy anymore. So he brings Jason to the town to kill people so that people remember him again. Because they'll start talking about murders and be like, ooh, Freddy. And then he'll spread to new kids and he'll be able to do his thing. And then, you know, he fights for Jason and it's awesome. So imagine an alien that like in its larval state needs to exist in the minds of people.
Okay, yeah, there we go.
Like it needs to exist in your dream and it slowly feeds on your brain.
Right.
Until you die in the dream of horror.
Yeah.
So like you start it off and it's like this little worm that needs to grow. Now the question is, what kind of alien is it? Is it like a worm that goes into people's brains? Like, does it leave evidence? Is it like a bunch of worms connected to like a centerpiece? Or is it like an alien hidden somewhere that's just telepathically going in people's heads? Like, does it, like, what's best for a detective thing, you know?
My assumption was that it was like an alien telepathically doing it. But yeah, having multiple worms, like, especially for the detective plot, that does work well.
Maybe it is an alien that like telepath connects, but it makes the worms to connect.
Maybe, or maybe it could be a twist of like, oh my god, the worms are in all the colonists.
What if that's how it reproduces? So it's a psychic alien. It connects to your mind, so it has to be nearby. And then it infects you, and you start growing the worms in your brain.
Okay, yeah.
And that's what's causing the dreams.
Right, yeah.
And then, like, when you die, when, like, slowly I want people to start coughing up worms for some reason. Like, that just seems...
Yeah.
Like, worms coming out of people's eyes and people coughing up worms and then finding worms in dead people.
Yeah. The alien releases spores, which then, like, or, well, they look like spores. You know, they could be microscopic eggs or something.
I guess we could do it that way. I kind of like the psychic thing, though.
Yeah.
Maybe it psychically connects and then the fear you generate makes the worms in your head.
Something like that, yeah.
Like, imagine a worm made out of brain tissue.
Yeah, that's creepy.
Like, yeah, you know, like the brain has all those wrinkles and shit. Like, imagine if those were worms.
Right.
That could be cool. So we have a big psychic alien. I kind of want like a gray, you know, like an XCOM alien.
Yeah, that could work.
Yeah, the psychic alien, you know, that really is fun. And the idea of it has to be nearby, so it's walking around and shit. So the detective actually can catch it and kill it. But then there's a bunch of worms in everybody.
Right.
And like when he kills it, then everybody starts exploding and shit, Cronenberg style.
Oh.
Like the whole place gets fucked, and he's trying to get people out in the end. Because then you could do a sequel, and it's like Aliens, where it's an action movie, where the whole planet's been fucked or something, or somebody's coming to help. Psychic alien versus moon detective. Good concept, right? So
yeah.
Our concept is like, all right, so a detective who quit, and he's now a colonist, becomes a detective again in order to track down murders that are weird with brain nightmares. And then he finds the alien, and then the alien dies, and it releases all the worms on the town, killing a lot of people. That sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay, so then, what are the characters? We need characters, Scott. We need people to root for, people to hate.
Right. So we have our detective.
Yes, detective. Write them non-gendered, just like Ripley.
Fair enough.
What's a name like Ripley?
I don't know. For some reason, my brain's going to like a name like Angel.
Detective Angel.
No, can't do that. Can't do that. Nicholas Angel, can't do that.
Yeah. Well, we could have their first name be Angel, and they could be like Latino,
Yeah,
and because Angel's a pretty common name
yeah,
sometimes.
yeah. For some reason, that's kind of where my mind was heading. I think.
Yeah, I was thinking Angel Batista from Dexter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So,
Shoot. So maybe it doesn't work.
you could still use names from other shows.
Yeah, or it could be a placeholder.
Detective placeholder.
Yeah, officer placeholder.
Yeah,
No.
fuck it. Detective placeholder.
No, we can do something better. Clayton. I don't know. I have some Sculpey in my hand, so Clayton, Angel Clayton.
Angel Clayton is really good. What happened to them that made them not a detective before they went? They were like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna be a colonist."
They got a bad knee after like a high stakes chase down of a fleeing witness. Or
Ooh, see, that's different than what I was expecting. I was gonna be all melodramatic and be like, they shot a kid." Or,
yeah,
like,
yeah. I was kind of feel like we should probably. I don't know, like that. I feel like
I do like the injured detective because it also plays into like the horror because it's like you can't get away.
Yeah.
I think I'll bump it up a little bit more than a broken knee. I'm thinking I want him to have a cane now. Like now I'm thinking like house style. Like he's got a cane and he's still like young, but he still has this fucking cane.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah. Plus I'm like cane sword.
Yeah.
So former detective Angel Clayton crippled his leg in a chase down. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Like he was arresting a guy and then the guy broke his leg or something.
Like I'm thinking like, high speed pursuits, chased him down an alley.
I was thinking he crashed his car, it could fuck up his leg. If you did it that way too, you could have like high speed, like floating car chase.
Yeah, maybe. That depends how far back we want to go and how relevant it is.
Do we want this to be in like the Aliens type universe where it's like the future, but all the shit's gritty and broken and like it's a colony? Or do we want to do this like SpaceX, like modern, this is like 70 years from now and this is on like, Mars or some shit?
I was kind of leaning more towards, alien kind of gritty, a lot fluorescent light.
Yeah, I guess because you don't get to, you have a lot more limitations if you do it on a planet that's like weird. All right, yeah. So okay, former detective Angel Clayton crippled his leg in a alley chase is what you're saying. So he was like running down the alley and then
That's my vote. Yeah, just like like the criminal jumped down like a fire escape or something. Clayton made the same move, only like it was a 2-story drop, so like cracked their femur or something.
I also had the image of if they ran into the alley, he had buddies and he got like his ass whooped like Joker style.
Could do that, yeah.
Like that would build a lot of sympathy.
Yeah.
Because like if he jumped off and broke his leg, some people might be like,
well, yeah, that's like, haha. Yeah, if he's cornered, then that's like, if you want to build sympathy, that's how you do it. Yeah.
Yeah, I do want him to be kind of helpless, and then they break his leg because it's. I think it builds more for him to. You see fear in his eyes as they're gonna like crack his leg.
Sure.
Because then you could do the whole hobbling thing, and it's like his legs up against a garbage, like a dumpster, and then they're like standing there, and they have an idea, and they smile, and he's like, "Oh fuck," and then he.
Right.
I guess in the future they can't fix hobbled legs. I guess it's whatever. It's down to earth, gritty sci-fi. So of course that's how it works.
Right.
Okay, so we now know his past. We need more characters. We need maybe a deputy.
I'm thinking a female mechanic would be a nice touch.
Okay, I want like someone in charge of the colony because I need someone. I want to have that speech where it's like he's like a farmer or whatever the fuck he's doing now on the colony. The leader comes down and is like, "Yo, we need you." Do colonies have mayors? Who's in charge of a colony?
Governor, I think, is typically the term.
Okay, yeah, governor. I do like a space governor.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's just come up with the archetypes first, and then we can name them.
Sure.
Okay, so female mechanic, governor. We need fodder. I think at first it's just gonna be random people are gonna be dying.
Well, sure.
Oh yeah, janitor at this place dead, or
yeah,
hydroponics farmer.
Right. Yeah, like people unrelated.
Yeah. You need people to start dropping that are important as well.
Yeah. And how big is the colony? We should get that squared away.
Yeah, we should figure that out too.
I want to say like 100 people.
Yeah, I think having it mostly big is good because I want it to be spaced out too. Like I want
right
room for mystery shit. The thing about it too is like, what's the terrain on this planet?
Oh yeah.
I feel like it's got to be a forest if it's horror.
Yeah.
Well, that's sort of the American horror thing, is that there's a big theory on horror that horror is where we're afraid of. It's where the most horrific things have been done. So in London, all the horror is in the city because of industrialization and like child working and stuff. So like in their horror, it's always in the city.
Right.
But then for us, it's always in the woods, because in the woods is where, you know, murders happen. It's where the old west, when we used to like kill people, where we used to hang people.
Right.
Like all the bad shit we ever did was in the woods. So the woods is like our scary place. Plus the woods is scary as fuck because it's the woods.
Right.
Yeah, we go to that woods in Canada where they always go, that has like the weird trees. The same woods. It's like the alien woods. It looks weird. No other forest is like it. And then everybody goes there to shoot weird space shit. They shot the Halo movie there, the original one.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, in a woodsy type planet, there's like big distances between, you know, giant areas. Like there's a power plant area away from stuff, and then there's like water, like a water plate, like purification place, and like, you know, there's like a big telescope and like just different locations that would be for scientific stuff. I think everybody here would probably be a scientist.
Yeah.
Or like a labor worker for the like to help with the science stuff.
Must have a minor in environmental sciences or something.
So there must be a lot of colonies though if they're letting crippled detective join.
They don't have an official law, so
We need to figure out, in a horror movie, you need to figure out the location like really well. You have to map everything out, and then you also have to have a bunch of victims, and you got to have a bunch of close people that you may or may not kill that are like important people.
Right.
So we got to start getting important people that matter, and then like peons.
Right.
Then we can build the locations, and then we can build, instead of doing the steps of a horror movie, like the breakdown of the 5 questions, I think it's best to come up with horror events that happen, because a horror movie's only as good as like the kills or whatever.
Right.
On Nightmare on Elm Street, all that really happens in that movie is people start dying when they hear about this guy, and they each have a scare, and then everybody thinks, basically the girl dies in her bed with the blood all over the place in the first one.
Right.
And then they're like, Johnny Depp did it, and the cops are arresting Johnny Depp, and all the tension is about how Johnny Depp's in prison and Freddy's gonna kill him. So then Freddy makes him fake hang himself, and then the girl is like discovering what happened. So then they go into the history, and they're like, who is this guy? They find out who he is, and then she does a big fight with him at the end, where she reads about the Dream Fighter people, and then she fights him, and she beats him. But then in the end, every Nightmare on Elm Street, they actually lost. It was all bullshit. It was all a dream.
Oh.
He beat him. Usually, in the end of the first one, it's really subtle. They get in a car, and then the top of the car comes up, like the convertible. The top of it comes up, and it's Freddy's shirt.
Oh.
And they drive off in the distance, and you're like, "Is that did they lose?" And then in the remake, it's like the end is he jumps out of a mirror and like stabs her in the chest, and you're like, "Oh fuck,
Right.
this is darker." Anyway, so yeah, my point is we need to get events that occur as well. And like with Friday the 13th, it's all about the camp and how it's laid out, and then people get killed when they're off on their own. In this case, this is a different one because it's the whole psychic thing, right?
Right.
What's the sin in this one? Because normally in a horror movie, you've done something to cause this horrible shit. I guess if it's a colony, do you want this about colonialism? Like subtly? Like this alien is a native and it's doing this?
From the sound of it, it's a parasite too, so...
Yeah, it might be bad on all that.
Yeah.
Well, because in Aliens, it's about, like, impregnation. That's what Aliens is about. Like, Aliens is about, like, rape and shit. It's, like, got real dark tones underneath.
Yeah, kind of.
So what is this about? Is it about the same thing? So what does this alien do? It shows you your worst fears. And that's what gives it power, right? Is the more afraid you are, the more worms are in your head, right?
Something like that, yeah.
So it should be about fear then, right? It should be about, like, group fear.
Right.
Like mob mentality?
Paranoia,
like canceling?
there we go. Yeah, that has potential.
Yeah. You don't know who's going to have the worms. But I don't think it's going to be about killing the people with the worms, because this isn't the thing. This has got to be like a Jaws type thing, where it's about, like, because Jaws is all about whether or not to keep, it's about capitalism and, like, whether or not to keep the beach open, right? So maybe this is, like, whether or not to evacuate or to take this shit seriously. Like, I don't know. There's you know, we need, like, the theme.
Right.
It makes you see your worst fears, and it makes you paranoid and you know, not as mentally well. we're thinking that maybe everyone is slightly affected by it.
Yeah.
Like almost like it's in the water levels of like they're getting infected, but it's like subtle in some people. How do we move beyond that? Like what is the thing? You know what I mean? Because we have a cool idea, but we need, what's it about, man?
Right.
So, your worst fears, paranoia, like on an alien planet, you're colonizing it, and then the creature is like the unease of it, and it's also kind of infectious. This is like so many things at once. Like the alien we've come up with is like 50 things.
Right.
It's like the Thing, but it's like also a murderer, but it's like also the alien from Alien. So the metaphor is getting all mixed up. We got to figure out something to pull out of it. You know what I mean? I don't know. What do you think about this? Like, what's your thought on the alien that it causes you fear, and the more afraid you are, the stronger the reproductive worms get, and they're on a planet, and they're all living there, and they're like this well-oiled machine at first. So what is it about? What is it caught? What is it doing? You know what I mean? It's a toughie.
Yeah.
Okay. The mob paranoia thing. I don't know. This is making me think of Salem. You know, like the witch trials.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know.
I'm just thinking, the idea in my head is like, in the Salem witch trials, everybody was high on this mushroom shit. They were all fucked up, and they were hallucinating, and they were all mentally fucked up.
Right.
And there were a couple of girls that people said were witches at first. And that was just like somebody was fucked up because of the mushrooms, and they were like, she's a witch. They saw something, and then they just kept going with it, and then they would just kill people because of what these people said. Like, what if the alien lives among them? When it connects to your mind, it enters your dreams, right? So it's trying to understand you and become you, right?
Okay.
And then it becomes you so that it can go reproduce more. So like after it's done with you, that's when the fear kicks in. So like it finds a person, right? And then maybe just because of the detective shit, we do it has to put a worm in your head, right? Like when you're sleeping, it puts a worm in your head, and then it can connect psychically, and then it has to be within range, right?
Maybe. I was kind of wondering about having the alien just being unconscious the whole time, and like, the alien's right here, but like we don't know how it's connected to any of this.
Huh. What if, okay, the alien's dreaming,
Uh-huh.
and all sentient life around it can connect to their minds, and then when it connects to your mind while you're sleeping, it learns about you.
Mm-hmm.
And then it causes fear in you, which the worms appear.
Mm-hmm.
And then what if it's manipulating you? Like, what if instead of it being a doppelganger, it's not like the alien becomes a person. The alien uses people because it can change your dreams, right?
Right.
Which means it has access to your subconscious. So, like, imagine this town, and they find, like, a sarcophagus or, like, a pod, right?
Right.
And there's, like, a sleeping alien, and they're like, studying it.
Yeah.
And that's the sin. And once they unearth this thing, oh my god, it's a metaphor for the internet.
Wait.
I just figured it out.
Okay,
Sorry, I just made a giant jump in my head that doesn't sound like it makes any sense.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, I was liking where the story was going, but then I'm like, wait, the internet?
Yeah, think about it. Okay. Social media, right?
Okay.
It's a parasite. It slowly warps your perceptions.
Yeah.
And makes you take down individual people. It slowly makes you worse. Like, in the sense of canceling and stuff, right? So, like, it slowly manipulates the people into changing slightly. The monster is Twitter. That's the metaphor. Okay, it doesn't matter. Don't worry about all that.
I'm not quite sure I see the parallel, but yes, I
don't worry about it. It's a net. It's a web of different worms in heads that connect wirelessly through telepathic signals. So it's like new technology being created by this thing. Anyway,
I like the idea we have nonetheless.
Yeah, it's too heady. Anyway, but yeah, the actual idea. Okay, sorry, I had like the fucking nerdy, overly critical critic brain for a second where I was like, okay, this is about this. Okay, that's something only I need to know when I'm physically writing it. Okay, so the alien, they find a sarcophagus. It's sleeping in this like pod thing. And while it sleeps, it enters the minds of the people around the town, and it subconsciously changes them by entering their dreams and slightly changing them slowly. And all the people start acting different, slightly. More paranoid or more manipulative or crueler or whatever. So, like, it goes in your mind and it uses your dreams to change you so that it can understand you better. So like people will be acting weird all over the place, you know what I mean? And then as it goes in your mind more and more, the more threatened it feels, it like changes your mind to get more, like more of the worms start growing, and the more of the worms, the more chaotic the person becomes and the more insane.
Right.
And it's like the crazies where like at the end everybody's going nuts, coughing up worms, murdering each other.
Okay.
Instead of it being like it kills one person at a time and we follow the murders, it could be more like some people have died because it doesn't know what it's doing or it's testing things.
Right.
And the detective is like uncovering this stuff, but the real truth is that in the background everybody's been affected and everybody's
Yeah, there we go.
So it's like blanket. It's affected the entire town. Like the pod is in the middle of town. There's a lab in the middle of town where they're testing it. Like it's like 100 square miles, right? And this building in the center of that 100 square miles is the lab. So every building around it is affected. And then maybe there's a couple of buildings on the outside that aren't affected. And maybe that's where the detective lives. So that's why he isn't affected as much. Like not the entire town is affected, but almost all of it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because then we could have a moment where like the detective's sitting in an office and he's like trying to connect the lines and he's like, oh my God. And he draws a circle. And like everybody who isn't affected, everybody who isn't weird is outside the circle. Because then you give them targets there. Because like if the people in the middle of the town are being weird, but the people on the outside aren't, then those middle town people are going to be attacking the outside town people. You know what I mean? Because like the alien can only control so much area, right? And there's humans outside that area that it can't affect. So what would be the first thing it would do? It would try to get those people and like destroy those people so it could, you know, or bring them in. You know what I mean? I don't know. This is a lot. I've expanded it a lot. I really don't want to say this could be a TV show, but it could.
Yeah, we can make this into a movie.
Yeah, we could make it into a movie. Okay, let's get back out. Let's figure out the basics. I got a little off track. This episode's going to be insanely long. I can already tell. Okay, we got a new premise. It's an alien. They find it. It's in a pod. They're experimenting on it, and that pod, it's going in everyone's dreams. Everybody's having weird dreams, and it's manipulating people to test out humanity, sort of thing. And then eventually it decides, all right, I'm going to fuck everybody up. And then they start doing the thing. I think the idea is that, like, is the alien bad? That's the question.
I'm leaning towards no, actually.
Okay.
Like, I kind of want, you know, for the majority of the movie, I want him to be, or I want them to be, like, unconscious. And then once they come to, like, you know, there's a moment of, like, franticness of, like, oh my God, he's going to do something. And, you know, it's just a moment of, like, wait, let him explain.
Yeah. Can I suggest something that might be a little different?
What's that?
After it gets up and starts to, like, communicate, what if it gets killed? Like, what if it's a benevolent alien and it's just using these... It's connected to people's minds to understand them better. And there's accidents because of it. And it's causing humans to be the real monster and eventually turn on it.
Right.
And then it wakes up, and then they're so scared of it because it's an alien and it's speaking alien talk that they just fucking shoot it in the face and it dies. And because it dies, that's what causes the worm thing.
I do like that. I don't know. I'm a little mixed because I want them to take a little more time, like, to probably explain the situation. But at the same time, I also do feel like that would be an appropriate, like, you know, considering the themes we're working with here. Yeah, I think that would be appropriate. Like, maybe give it a minute to explain, and then someone out of panic just comes up and it's like, oh my God. Yeah.
You know what would be great is if we did the classic, we get the subtitles and they don't.
Oh, yeah. That's great. That's a good idea. That's a good idea.
Yeah. Because it gets up and it starts talking, and then it's like, where am I? And then it wakes up and it's like, oh yeah. And then it like explains, and it's like trying to tell them, like, I've been connecting to you. I wanted to understand you.
Right.
But some things went wrong. And then in that moment, it's like, poof,
right. Yeah.
Shoot its fucking head off. They don't know what it's saying.
Yeah.
And then they're like, and then everybody starts exploding at that point. That works really well with the theme.
Right.
Even in my weird internet analogy, it's like the internet was built for a good thing, but we are the problem, not the internet. Oh my God, yeah, we're the bad guys. We ruined the internet. The internet was great. It was neutral. It didn't care either way. If anything, it was good because it had a purpose. And we ruined that. Like, we destroyed that. It's our own evil that is the monster here. And it literally poisons us, and that's what the worms are, is like they're our own problem.
Yeah.
Yummy. It's a yummy idea.
Yep.
Oh man, yeah, like it connected to our brains to understand us better, and then also maybe even to connect us like telepathically. Like people, it was trying to create like an astral dream for us all to live in together.
Oh yeah.
Like expand our minds, make us better, like it.
Maybe, yeah.
You know, try to evolve us, like mentally, like evolve our brains a little bit.
Something like yeah.
And then there's a side effect that it didn't understand, which is like human brains are dangerous. And then our brains started mutating a little bit, and the worms are a side effect of it connecting and not knowing. And then we kill it because we're so paranoid. And then it goes haywire because it's not controlling the things in our heads.
Right.
They're going wild.
Yeah.
So like we're literally eating our own brains with our our own negative emotions. We are hurting ourselves. The worms are mental health. All right. We may have created the headiest and greatest story of all time here.
Right.
Holy shit. I might actually write this one. Like every time I write one of these, it's like, okay, maybe one day we'll do a series where we write every scene.
Right.
And now I'm like, holy shit, this might be it.
Yeah.
Okay. So, let me try to explain that in 2 sentences. On a space colony, an alien pod is found. Everyone gets weird dreams. We get more paranoid and suspicious. Slowly, some die. Brainworms. We kill the alien as it tries to explain, and all hell breaks loose. We have the whole story there, right? So now all we need is that all these people that are going to die and slowly fuck each other up. And then also we still need how people die and what the detective is investigating. Because it still has to be a horror movie, right?
Yeah.
So how do we do that? So now we know, okay, psychic alien, it's in people's dreams. So they're seeing a terrifying gray alien in their dreams. That's pretty scary. And then it's changing their brains. So people are acting weird. And then the worms are starting to create in people's brains, so they start dying from those. And then we kill the alien, and then it goes nuts, where people are like coughing up worms and killing each other. How do we make that like horror-y? Maybe we don't need to worry about people that are getting killed, and we need to figure out how the fuck this is gonna flow first. Okay, let's try to explain it slowly, like a story. And maybe we'll just figure it out along the way.
All right.
Let's go back to the actual premise of this show, which is I have 7 questions. So, all right, we figured out the concept, and then we tried to figure out characters, and then we were like, all right, let's go right back to concept. So we have like the overarching way the monster's gonna work. So let's just figure out how we would tell that story. So first, where do we start? Like, how does this movie start? Because we're already 47 minutes into the recording, which means cutting it down, we're about halfway through. So this is the point where we have to start actually coming up with the plot.
Yeah.
Like the individual moments. So, okay. How do you want to start this? Do you want to start it with the detective breaking his leg?
No, reserve that for a flashback, or he can explain it later. Like it's not necessarily something we have to see. Like, we'll see him walking with a cane and we'll get it.
Yeah, I guess we could do that. I just liked the scene idea of like the guy with the like smiling and then breaking his leg and everything. Maybe it could be in his dream. You know what? There we go. That's how we do it.
Okay, that's a good idea.
Yeah. Throughout the story, he dreams
like an hour
and,
in. Yeah, he has to.
Yeah. I think everyone should have sort of a reoccurring dream. Maybe that's what it does. When it connects to your mind, you keep having the same dream.
Yeah, there we go.
And it changes. Yeah. So like he'll have that dream in the beginning.
Okay.
Do we want to start with him having the dream, or we'll just do that later? Like, it'll be when he goes to bed after the first part.
I think instead of opening with him, or them, sorry, I don't know.
Oh, yeah, them. Damn. Hey, just to say this way, I'm going to put a disclaimer. When someone's doing a story about a non-gendered character, I think it should be okay to use your own gender as the placeholder.
We'll try our best.
But, okay. Okay, yeah. Anyway.
But I think we should instead start with 2 random people having accidents, or like them dying.
Oh, like start with a murder first.
Yeah, start with the murder first, establish the tone, this is horror, and maybe start with 2 people, so we see these 2 people like they're dying from the dreams, right?
Yeah, their dreams, they see aliens in their dreams, they're freaking out.
Yeah, so they have 2 separate dreams cross-cut between the two of them.
The dreams connect.
Yeah, or that's kind of thing they kind of, for the most part, they don't, except for the alien.
Ah, okay. So it's them spotting the alien and stuff and then dying.
Right.
Okay. Because I thought it would be cool because the whole thing about the alien is that it's connecting our dreams. What if their dreams were mixing at some point?
Okay, there's an idea.
Like, yeah, so you cut between two dreams and you're cross-cutting, but then the dreams start mixing.
There we go. That's a good idea.
And it's like, that's pretty cool because it's like both of them are running from an alien. That's the dream. You start with a normal dream. They see the alien. They start running away, right?
Right.
And the alien just wants to understand and talk to them, but they're afraid of the alien because they're humans. So they're running from the alien. The alien is showing up wherever they go in their dream, like a Freddy Krueger. Like, it's terrifying to see this faceless monster, like fucking gray alien that doesn't speak, like appearing in your dream. It's like, maybe it's like talking backwards. Like, it's trying to speak English, but it doesn't understand yet.
Right.
So, like, there's this alien that speaks backwards. Yeah, in your dream. And it keeps appearing wherever you go. And they keep running, and you're cross-cutting between these two different dreams, and then they end up in each other's dreams.
Okay, yeah.
Like it's like they're running, and then it's like, so one of them's in like a diner, like a 50s diner, and the other one's in like a gritty 90s action movie. And they're like running from the alien. And then suddenly the person that was in the gritty story opens the door and they're in
the diner, yeah.
And then it's like so like you're mixing the genre. I actually like the idea of all the dreams just being genres of movies because it'd be easy to differentiate.
You know what? Sure. Yeah.
Oh man, that's fun.
That's a fun idea, yeah.
I want to write that. Yeah. Man, okay, so we'll start it with a dream. And then what happens is they both wake up, and are we going to say they both die then? Or do we want them to kill each other, like the premise of the going crazy, or is that too early?
I'm leaning towards that being a little too early.
Do we want them to die, or do we want them to start telling people about it?
We want them to die, because then that initiates, like, that's the inciting incident that brings the detective in.
So how do they die? Do the worms, like, eat their brain out?
Pretty much.
Yeah, or like their heads explode, or are they like heart attacks? I think it has to be a brain thing.
Yeah, so like...
Should it be as simple as they're like stroking out, or is it like their whole head explodes? Or is it like one worm burrows its way out into the sewer? Or
pretty much like a stroke brought on by the worms, yeah.
Okay, yeah, it's the first step, right? And then in the morgue, their brains,
Or supreme hemorrhaging, I don't know the proper terms.
Yeah, I like the idea of, like, in the morgue, they'd cut open the head, and then the worms are popping out. You know what I mean?
Right, or trickling out or whatever.
Yeah, so they'll have all these bodies, and then they'll be like, let's start looking at the brains here. And then, boom, worms.
Yep.
And then they go into the sewer pipe. I like the sewer pipe thing because my main idea is, like, what if... I want a point where all the worms are, like, one monster at a point.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's a giant worm made of worms. That would be pretty fucking cool. Anyway, okay. So, good start, Scott. Great.
Yes.
That was collaboration right there. We both together made that. That was good. Okay. Cross-cut between dreams while they run from the backwards talking alien. They both have strokes from the fear, which also plays into the idea that it's our own problem. It's our own fear and humanity that's what kills us.
Right.
It was just trying to talk. But it's so scary to us that it killed them. Imagine being that alien. That would be sad. I feel bad for this alien. That's the first scene.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where we start. So then I think after that, I had a really dumb idea that popped in my head when you were explaining it, and I just wanted to enter Mr. Sandman to play, and the sun to come up, because it's like they're dying in their beds at night. So like you see them both die in their beds, and then I just was like, Mr. Sandman. And it's like daytime.
Yeah.
Plus, you could put it in the trailer, and you'd see, like, horrible nightmare dreams.
Yeah, put it in the trailer.
And you see the worm scream, the giant worm at the end. Like, that's... Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Mr. Sandman plays...
Put it in the trailer, or, have it be a running gag.
Also, I didn't even think about it. Mr. Sandman, as in dreaming. Oh, my God. I didn't even plan that. That was subconscious.
Oh.
You know, Mr. Sandman, bring me a dream. Oh my God. Yeah, that works so well in this. That could be what the monster is.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, and I think the intro of the movie is like, because we want to understand the colony very fast. So I think starting it right after that with like a montage with Mr. Sandman playing of like the entire town.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So before we go to the next point, let's figure out the way the town looks, because it's important for us to know the locations in order to like actually come up with what's going on. So, what does a colony need, Scott, to be a town? I think the center of the town we said has the lab or whatever, right?
I guess so. I don't know if we really, but yeah.
Well, I was just saying, in the center of the paranoia circle is the lab.
Oh yeah.
So, what would be in the middle of the town? It would be a rocket or something, right?
Yeah, that's where the colonists landed, and they built their base out from that point.
Yeah, so it would be in the center of town. Is the foundation of the town would be, you get in a rocket, you land, and then there would be pods around that.
Right.
Across from that would be the lab, because that would probably be the first place you'd set up when you come to an alien planet, is a laboratory, right? Because it's like you're gonna study rocks and shit. Like, you got to think this is a colony that's been here since the beginning. So, like, this is every location that would be built when you're building a colony. So it's like, rocket comes down, they build a lab, then they're like, all right, let's send in people that aren't just scientists or whatever, right? So then it's like, it grows out from there. What are the things you need for a regular space base first? And then we'll come up with the town shit after that.
Yeah.
So you need a rocket, pods, lab, hydroponics, right?
Hydroponics, yeah.
Which includes food.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe this whole planet is forest and there's no water and you have to like dig it out of the ground.
Right, groundwater, yeah.
I wrote groundwater plant and then I was like, oh, you mean a well?
There you go. Yeah. I kind of like the idea of them harvesting something simple, like, yeah, maybe they're just collecting soil for other colonies.
Yeah, dirt and sap.
Right.
You know, this is the maple planet. The whole point of this entire base is to get sap. It's just like, all right, we're all getting maple. This is the maple town. So there's food, water, science, all the needs, escape, housing, right? So then you'd have people's houses.
Right.
And then maintenance. You'd need like a maintenance place if it's big enough. Like someone, like the mechanic, right? And with that many people, you'd need like a cafeteria.
Yep.
And then, so you have a place to eat, you have a place to sleep, you have a place to fix the things. I guess you need a janitor as well, which is part of the maintenance thing.
Yeah.
Now, do people have kids? Are we going to have kids on this planet, or is it all adults?
It is
a colony.
Yeah.
So they would be making babies.
Right. Not explicitly like family oriented. Family oriented.
So they wouldn't have a school, is what we're saying. It's not that point yet.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
This is the beginning, right? I guess it would be the beginning because they just got here a little bit ago and now they found the alien.
Right.
Okay, no kids. So I don't need a school or anything.
No.
Astrology. I wanted a telescope.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, or maybe it's like a hobby of one of the
so he built this giant telescope thing.
Yeah, it's a little rickety, but it does what it needs to.
Yeah, well, I like the idea of a whole like observatory just because it's cool visually.
Oh yeah.
Plus that makes sense because if you're out and farther in space, you might want to be able to see stuff.
Yeah.
Is that everything then? So far we have a rocket in the center of town, pods around it. Across the street from it is a lab. Hydroponics is like a big dome in the, like on the like west, and then groundwater is a big dome to the east. Oh, power plant. Solar plant. So there's 3 sources of importance in the town. Then so to the west is the power, to the east is the water. You want them separate so that they don't interfere with each other, and then to the south is the hydroponics. So then north would be the rest of the just where the mine, right? The thing they're getting.
Right.
So you said are we gonna do the sap and soil thing?
Might as well.
So this is the place we have. In the center is a rocket. In front of that is a lab. And then in each direction is a different big dome with important shit in it. So you got the mine, which is a big hole where they're getting dirt and sap and stuff from trees. Then to the west is the hydroponics, to the east is the groundwater, to the south is the solar plant. So you have these big domes that are like the outskirts of the town, right? Those are the important things. And then those are connected to the middle, which is the rocket and the lab. And then in between that is houses. There's a maintenance area. There's a cafeteria in the middle next to that lab. And then there's a big astronomy observatory. So we have a town there. That's the town. And then there's more houses on the outside because they would have expanded and they need more room. So they would build more houses out there. So I think that's everything then, right? Perfect society. We got it. That's the society. We now know where everything is and how shit's gonna go nuts. And because we know how everything is, now we know everyone who lives there. We don't need to come up with characters other than the important ones. Because if we need a victim, all right, someone died at the solar plant, maintenance worker. Someone died at the mine, miner. Someone died in the maintenance area. Oh, that's a mechanic. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
We don't have to come up with anything now. We're good. This is how the story starts so far. So 2 dreams, 2 people dreaming, running away from an alien, talking backwards. They both have strokes after they enter each other's dreams, just in a cool moment to sort of show the idea. Then it becomes daytime. Mr. Sandman. We go to all the places in town. We see how everybody works. Then the beginning montage is done. We have a title. We should meet our main character then, right?
Yeah, just as Mr. Sandman wraps up, we see the cane.
Okay. We see a cane hit the ground. That's the end of the song. It's like hits the dirt. It's the sound of the cane. It's like, there we go. Okay. What is the detective doing that's not detective-y? Because he's not a detective, remember? He's doing something else now.
I do like the idea, though, of him, still sticking to something detail-oriented, I think.
Is it like a desk work thing?
Pretty much.
Okay, a desk job. We could have an astronomer. We could be an astronomer because that's detail-oriented.
Yeah, sure.
That all an astronomer does is just looks at shit and then writes it down.
Yeah.
I could see that being boring, too.
Oh, yeah.
All right, yeah, fuck it. Also, astronomer would be farther away in town because it would have been one of the last things they built, right? So, yeah, it would be on the edge outside of the dream thingy. Maybe the building's there, but his house is outside. So, yeah, okay, perfect. The way we introduce him is he's bored with his life. He's got a cane. It's slow for him to move around. He hates everything that's going on. The governor comes in and says, hey, we need you to deal with something.
Right.
She brings him up. She's like, I didn't just hire you because of your astronomy skills. I could have hired an astronomer with a good leg. I hired you because you're a detective in case this shit went wrong. Also, I want, yet again, I'm going to name drop an actor. Sigourney Weaver is the governor.
Yep. Yeah.
I want someone who's balls breaking, and she's got that down. So it works on multiple levels.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, back to the questions. I always lose that. Okay, where do we start is 2 people were murdered. He's a detective. He's got to investigate. The sort of how do we leave of this is... Okay, the real question is how do the worms start manifesting after that? So, like, the first event is 2 people are dead. What's the second event? So he's been working the scene. Now what? We could have even said she brings him in to make sure that it wasn't murder, and then he's like, it's a stroke. Why did you call me? And then he leaves. And then in the morgue, worms coming out of brains and nobody notices. It's like when someone's gone. Like the mortician cuts the brain open, leaves to go get a drink or something, comes back, the brain that came out of the brain and went into the sewer. We know, but they don't.
And then Angel goes to chat with a friend who's a mechanic, maybe.
Yeah, okay. He goes to get lunch. Maybe we give love interest, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mechanic woman.
Yeah.
I'm imagining the woman from Final Fantasy 15, the mechanic girl, Sid's daughter.
Oh.
That's what she looks like to me. So he goes up.
Notices someone nodding off, doesn't think anything of it. Just like, okay, they're sleeping on the job again.
And then they're talking, and in the middle of talking, the person wakes up screaming.
Right.
I actually like the idea of that, because then you could cut from that to the governor being like, people all over town are having the same nightmare.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so far, we're about 10 minutes into the movie now. What's next? Is everyone in town already having nightmares, or is this like a subtle thing? Like, is there another murder? Because so far, we've basically established the main character, their interest, the person in charge, the mortician, and the actual bad guy stuff, like the stuff that's going on. I think next we should show that it doesn't just happen in the dreams. I think a person should murder someone next.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
So, what's a fun murder? Okay. I do have an idea.
Mm-hmm.
Since we're playing into the dream thing, what if they're sleepwalking?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Sleepwalking murder.
Yeah. No memory of what they just did. Yeah.
Yeah. I love this cross-cutting thing. I think the cross-cutting is like the secret to this whole thing. I think you were right in the beginning. That we have their dream and then we have real life. And it's like cutting between their dream and real life.
Yeah, there's an idea.
So they're running from the alien and then they get like a pitchfork or some shit and they're like going to stab the alien. Maybe, yeah, hydroponics bay murder.
Oh, yeah.
Someone's in the hydroponics bay and just like before, we see them fall asleep while they're working. They wake up in the dream.
Yep.
Alien, oh shit. They pull out a pitchfork, start stabbing at the alien. And then they stab one of their coworkers if in the dream they're seeing multiple aliens because every person they see is the alien?
Oh yeah.
So they're like sleepwalking, and then everyone they see looks like the alien. So they're like running from everyone else, and we're cutting from their view of the alien to the view of the people.
Yeah.
So it seems like everybody's an alien in disguise. Like that's the red herring, is like, oh shit, she's seeing the real aliens. There's aliens everywhere.
Oh dang.
But no, it's just she's sleeping.
Right.
You see someone sleeping in like a hydroponics bay, and then they open their eyes. Someone puts their hand on their shoulder. You see it's a normal person, and then when they turn, it's an alien. It's like speaking backwards. And then as they get up and they run, and like as they're running through the building, it's normal people, but then to them it's a monster. And then they run in a door, bar it, like block it with shit, and they're like breathing, and then they look up and there's another alien, and they grab a computer monitor, bash their head in, and then like there's like gray goo all over the ground, and then they open their eyes and it's a person.
Right.
What's next? This is the fun in games, right? So this is all the fun murders. I think, when should the alien be revealed and when should it die? I'm thinking, which one is the climax of the movie? Like what's the midpoint and what's the climax here?
Having the alien like full on die, that's the climax, because that's when everything just goes absolutely bonkers.
Okay, yeah, because the low point is everyone murdering each other.
Right.
And it's all about them getting in the rocket and getting the fuck out.
Yep.
So then that means the midpoint is finding the alien. Because you find the alien, then the alien gets killed, then shit goes nuts. So, right now, we've established everything that can happen. We've established that people can die in their dreams, that they have worms in their heads, and that they can kill other people because they're, dreaming. What's next? Maybe we do a trial of the person that just did the murder.
Yeah. Or more like an interrogation, and like as they're interrogating, they get reports that someone else just tried to murder someone.
There's other murders happening and other accidents happening. What if we do the rest of the town is also paranoid because of the worms, right?
Right.
So what if we do mob justice after that?
Yeah.
So like he's in the interrogation room with her, right? And he's talking to her and he's trying to like get stuff out of her. And then after that, the governor opens the door and it's like, hey, we got a situation.
Yep.
And then you hear phones ringing and like craziness there. And it's like, oh shit, there's like 20 people.
Yeah.
And then all the people are round up. And now we have them all like in a room. There's no cages here. There's no jail. So they're all just like detained in a room.
Right.
Let's say 7 people. 7 people get arrested out of the 100. I think governor would give a speech, right? All hands meeting.
Right. Yeah. Or broadcast through radio, some sort of.
I think a broadcast would work, but I like the all hands just because it helps with the paranoia.
Yeah.
So like the Jaws scene where they're like giving the speech.
Right.
So all hands meeting. Town full of people, they're mad. There's 7 people in jail. People are like, what are we going to do about these people, kind of thing. And the governor would be like, we're going to keep them detained until the next rocket arrives, and then we're going to send them for help. Like, they're mentally ill. We need to get them help. Like, Angel here used to be a detective before he was an astronomer. He's going to figure out the cause of all this. And then everybody's, like, calling for them to get killed. But it's not time yet for, like, an execution. I do want, like, a mob execution to happen.
Right. Okay, yeah.
I think right before the alien thing, the mob should kill all these people. Or someone important. Or Sid. They could try to kill Sid.
Yeah.
Like, maybe Sid will get wrapped up in something at some point, and then they're going to kill her because she's the only person we care about other than the detective yet. Then that's when they reveal the alien thing. Maybe the alien walks out of the lab at that point.
Or stumbles out of the lab.
Yeah, well, at first I thought, oh, we should do the alien in, like, a private room, but it'd be way more interesting if the alien came outside and started talking to everyone. It's like, hey, I just woke up. Sorry, I've been in your minds. I'm trying to connect, blah, 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 blah. And it's, like, speaking backwards, and then someone just shoots it.
Right.
Like, they just kill it. Like, they beat it to death or whatever, because there's no guns in space. So, like, somebody just beats it to death right there. Like, the whole mob just, like, kills them. And then at that point, shit goes wild, and then it's, like, the big finale. We still have a little bit more before that to play with the dream stuff and the detective stuff. And is like, nah, don't do this. Like, the alien's trying to talk them down from hanging Sid. They're like, your brains are affected by my powers. Like, I was just trying to understand. And then they fucking kill him.
Right.
Problem I have right now is there's not enough detective going on.
Right.
Or I guess, you know what, he could do like the map thing where he's like combining like where the people were sleeping, where this happened, and like trying to trace it. And then it's like, if these 8 people were affected, where were they?
Oh, yeah.
Do we want them to all be near each other? And he gets like a coincidence, like, oh, it's from here.
That'd be a decent red herring, being like, for these 8 people, yeah, they were right here. They were all right here. But nope, that's not the connecting feature.
Okay, they all live near the lab. Could be the thing. It's like they live in the area near the lab. And then he's investigating the lab and no one will let him in?
Yeah. And there's a conspiracy that whatever's happening, they knew about it like 2 weeks ago and tried to cover it up. And whatever it is in the lab.
Yeah, he's like, you did this. Yeah. So he's against the governor at this point. And he's like, hey, you brought me in here to do this case. But do you know something and you're not telling me? What is up with these worms in people's heads? Like, did you put them there? Are you the one behind all this? But then that means he would open the pod and find out about the alien.
Right. I mean, yeah, he's still outside of the lab. Like, yeah, maybe go back to your idea of like, the alien's the one who opens the lab.
So he's suspecting the lab with the governor. Should something happen with Sid then? And then kick off the whole trial and then the rest of the movie?
Pretty much, yeah.
Is that enough going on?
Yeah, I think that's plenty going on.
What could happen with Sid? Is she going to murder someone in her dream thing?
Yeah. Could give her a trait of like she has insomnia. Or maybe give Angel that trait.
Ooh, yeah, he has insomnia. Oh man, that's way better than him being on the outskirts of the town.
Yeah.
Is that he doesn't sleep. Oh man, no, I want to sprinkle in every act break, have him sleep, and it's the dream about the detective thing.
Right.
So before the alien can affect him in the dream, he already wakes up because it's a nightmare.
Yeah,
he's the only one having nightmares.
Right.
Everybody else is dreaming and the alien is entering their dreams. He's having a nightmare, so he doesn't sleep long enough for the alien to show up. Like, he keeps reliving when he broke his leg. Maybe you could even have the alien in the dreams, but it's in the distance. It's like slowly coming to him, but it never gets to him because he wakes up before it happens. So like every act break, he has a dream and it follows his past that event where he broke his leg. And like each time he has the dream, the alien gets closer and he doesn't notice it until like near the end. So he has like 3 dreams. He has like, first time he dreams about it and it's subtle. Then he dreams about it, the alien's in the background. Then he dreams about it and he sees the alien.
Right.
And then he wakes up and that's right before the alien gets killed.
Yeah, in the final dream, the guy who breaks his knee, who smiles, is the alien, and he doesn't do anything, he just looks at him.
Yeah. He looks at him and he smiles.
I don't know.
Yeah, he looks at him. The alien doesn't even have a mouth.
Right, yeah.
Which is also creepier with the talking backward.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you know what? I just came with an idea. What if in the second dream when the alien is subtle, what if the alien is the one that gives him the idea that all the people are from the lab? Like, what if the alien shows him the lab in his dream?
Oh, yeah.
So, like, he's in his nightmare, right? Falls asleep.
Right.
In his nightmare. Alien's in the background. Then, like, the alien points, and he sees the lab, and then he goes in.
Yeah, points down the alleyway, which would continue into an alleyway, but instead...
It changes his dream, and he walks down. Yeah.
Right.
That actually works really well, because it's like, he's a detective, but the alien is the one that's giving him all the clues.
Right.
They all live near the lab. He confronts the governor, and then we're going to do the final thing, which is the shit happens to Sydney. What would a mob kill her for, right? So the mob wants to kill all 8 of the people that were, like, killing people with their craziness.
Right.
So what does Sid do as a big, crazy thing that gets her arrested and brought in front of everyone?
Oh, man. She's mechanic, so she has access to...
Oh, my God, to everything.
Yeah, and so...
She destroys the power plant.
She's caught one button press away from destroying the power plant.
Yeah. Maybe what she's doing is for the alien.
Right.
Maybe she knows the truth. Maybe she knows that, like, maybe she befriends the alien.
She was the one who discovered it, yeah.
Oh my God, no, dude. What if they want to kill her because they think she's working with it? They think she's the alien.
Right. Yeah. All this started 2 weeks ago, and guess who showed up?
Yeah. Or even, like, she's been messing around with stuff because the alien's been subtly telling her to do stuff. Maybe she was at the water plant in the beginning and they think she poisoned the water. Like, we definitely want her to be the big suspect. Because we don't have a suspect yet. And he likes her.
Oh,
so the idea that it might be her is bad. So I think we need to go through the whole story and add in points where she's suspicious Because we want the audience to think that she's the alien.
Right.
This is a hard one, man.
Yeah.
Oh, I figured it out. The alien pod is turned on. It's in, like, cryo sleep.
Okay.
Like, that's what the pod is.
Right.
So, like, they found the alien sleeping, and they kept it asleep. Like, it started waking up, and then they turned on the pod, and it went back to sleep.
Oh, okay.
So it wants her to turn the power off so it can get up.
Right. Okay, yeah.
And that's why it wakes up. That's why it wakes up during the hanging, because she did shut off the power.
Right.
Also, I could understand a bunch of paranoid people killing someone because they turned off all the power.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe while Angel is talking to the governor, being like, you have to let me in there, and like arguing with her and confronting her, the power goes out. And then the mob heads towards the power plant. She gets caught, mob justice, the detective tries to stop them. They're gonna kill her. We cross-cut between the alien waking up, which everyone thinks is terrifying in the audience, and the mob gonna hang her. We like cut between the argument. So it's like, they kidnap her, bring her up on a stand, right? And they've made like a place to hang her. They've like made it out of like a basketball hoop or some shit. And they're like, we're gonna hang her for shutting off the power. She's with the alien. And then as they say that, it cuts to the alien slowly hearing them and waking up. And like the mob's freaking out and they're like, she's one of them, all of them are aliens. And they're like losing their shit. Like she was at the well, she was messing with the water, she infected all the others. She was at maintenance when that girl killed that man. She's a monster. She's the goddamn alien. I've seen her in my nightmares. She keeps turning into the alien in my sleep. She's an alien. They're all freaking out, gonna kill her.
Yep.
And while that's going on, you're cutting to the alien waking up. The alien wakes up out of its pod, blows the pod off, walks outside, starts talking to the crowd. The crowd sees the alien, they freak out. There's like a pause as the alien speaks, and you can see what it's saying. And it's like, this is a big misunderstanding. They were keeping me prisoner in this pod. I used her to help me get out. Everything else is side effects from my connection. And then, like, they kill the alien. And then all hell breaks loose. As it dies, it's like, no! And then all their brains start imploding with worms.
His last words were, I can cure this.
I can stop this. Yeah, I can stop this. And then then it fucking stomp on his head and crush him. And then all the worms start coming out of people's mouths. They start coughing them up.
Yep.
People are bleeding. Some people completely explode into worms. The worms come out of the sewer, the giant one, the mess of worms, the big web. And shit goes nuts. They're running. They're like hiding inside while people are being eaten by this giant worm monster. And other people are like bursting into worms. It's just crazy insanity.
Right.
And then the rest of the movie is just they have to get to the rocket. And it's just like intense action where they're trapped in like the lab. And then across the way, everybody's getting killed by the aliens. And then they have to make it to the rocket and get out. Yeah, I think that works, right?
Yeah.
Okay, there's the movie. God, that started off really good, but holy fuck.
It wasn't that bad. Truly, humanity was the monster all along.
Yeah. Maybe not as good as when I first thought of it, but
yeah.
I like this.
Oh, yeah.
I like this a lot. It'll be fun to write a scene from this.
Right.
There's so many to play with. The dream one's pretty fun. All the dream ones are fun, but like the mob justice thing is pretty good. But I don't know, man. This is a weird one.
I think it was a really good idea. It's
fine. It's good. We got it.
Yeah.
Gray alien with a heart of gold gets murdered by dumb humans.
Yep.
The movie. All right. Well, that came out of nothing.
Yeah.
So we definitely should do this idea of combining. But we can also do adaptions again if you want to.
Either or.
All right. So that was fun. Next time we'll do another thing. See you later, Scott. Bye. Well, there you have it. It was nice. I like what we came up with. If you like this podcast, please give Apple, Spotify, Google, and anywhere you get podcasts a reach around. Please review, like, comment, favorite, do all the things that make them happy. If you don't know, this podcast, Not So Aloney, has smaller ones. If you want to listen to just this show, 7 Questions, you can look it up on podcast networks. It has its own podcast channel now. And if you're listening to this on 7 Questions, there's a larger show called Not So Aloney, where all of our shows sit. So every week you can get a brand new podcast, or if you want to just listen to this show, it's once a month. We got all kinds of shows on Not So Aloney. We got a D&D show, Testers and Jesters. We got Talking at No One, where I, by myself, try to come up with something impossible and finish it. And then we have Table Read, where we take the stories that we wrote on the podcasts and we make them real. So I'm definitely going to write Salem 2099 as an audio play to come out as a table read. So you should definitely listen to that if you liked this. Thanks for listening. Bye.